class, and welcome to Math Minutes video lesson number 43. This is the last lesson of Algebra 1 Semester 2. Congratulations, you've made it through. This lesson is going to look at multiplying and dividing binomials and trinomials, and this lesson begins on page 41 in your notebooks, so let's get started. Multiplying binomials and trinomials. To multiply two binomials, we use an acronym FOIL. And this is what it stands for. The F stands for your first terms. O is the outside terms. I is the inside terms. And L is the last terms. And let's see what that means. FOIL. The first terms are the first in each parentheses. So you would multiply your first terms. A times A gives us A squared. Outside terms, the ones here on the outside of both of each of this expression. A times -3 gives me -3A. Inside terms are these two right here, the insides. A +7 times an A gives me +7A. And then my last terms, the last in each is the 7, the +7, and the -3 gives me a -21. So I did my first two, my two outsides, my two insides, and then my two last. And then you'll notice you're going to end up with like terms in the middle. So we simply combine those. We end up with A squared. -3 plus 7 is a +4A minus 21. And you see now we have no more like terms and we're done. So that is multiplying using FOIL. We're going to do some practice now. Let's take x plus 3 times x minus 2. First, x times x is x squared. O, outside, -2 times x gives me -2x. The I, inside terms, +3 times x gives me a +3x. The L is for my last terms. The last in each parentheses. A +3 times a -2 gives me -6. One more step, simply combine my like terms. I end up with x squared. -2 plus 3 is 1. A +1x minus 6. Okay, let's FOIL another set. Let's say a minus 4 times a plus 2. First, A times A is A squared. Outside, 2 times A gives me a +2A. Insides, -4 times A, -4A. And last, -4 times a +2 gives me a -8. Combine my like terms, I end up with A squared. Plus 2 minus 4 is -2A, and then my -8. And there we have it. Let's try another one. I'll write it up here. Let's remember what we're doing. FOIL. First terms, let's take x plus 5 times x minus 5. First terms, x times x gives me x squared. O, outside. Outside terms, -5 times that x gives me a -5x. I, inside terms, a +5 times an x gives me a +5x. L, my last term in each parenthesis, a +5 times a -5 gives me -25. Combine my middles, I end up with an x squared. Well, here we end up with a -5x plus a 5x. It's really 0. So that they'd like cancel each other out. We end up with x squared minus 25. It's okay to have a term that's missing there. Let's try one more. Oh, let's do x minus 7 times x minus 3. First terms, x times x. Outside, negative 3 times x. Inside, negative 7 times x. Last, negative 7 times negative 3 gives me a positive 21. Combine my like terms, I end up with x squared. Negative 3 minus 7 is negative 10x plus 21. That's how you multiply two sets of binomials. Let's take a look at how to multiply a binomial with a trinomial. We're going to use the distributive property. We only use FOIL with two binomials, but now we need to distribute the x to every term in the parentheses, and also the negative 6 gets distributed to each term. We're going to end up with a string of 6 terms, and then we're going to combine them. So let's do our first. X times x squared. Positive times positive gives me a positive x cubed, because there's 2 here and 1 there. My next term, positive x times negative, gives me a negative 2 times 1 is 2. X, and there's a 1x here and a 1 there, gives me negative 2x squared. Now I'm going to distribute this x to my third term. X times a positive 5 gives me a positive 5x. Now I get to do my 6. My negative 6 times x squared gives me negative 6x squared. Negative 6 times my second term. Negative 6 times negative 2 is a positive 12x. Negative 6 times my last term. Negative 6 times a positive 5 is a negative 30. Now I get to combine all of my like terms. Do I have anything else that's cubed? No. So I'm just going to bring that down. Do I have anything else that's x squared? Yes. I have a negative 2x squared and a negative 6x squared. That gives me negative 8x squared. Now I did my cubed, I did my squared. Now let's go on my x term. Do I have another x term? Yes, I have another one right here. A positive 5 plus a 12 gives me a positive 17x. Now, do I have anything else left? I do. I have my one constant here at the end, minus 30. And let's just double check. Did I end up with anything that I can combine? No. These are each different terms. There, I've done it. I have multiplied a binomial by a trinomial. Let's do some practice on the next page. Let's try x plus 2 times x squared plus 3x minus 1. I'm going to take this x and multiply it by each of the 3 terms in the trinomial. X times x squared is x cubed. X times 3x is a positive 3x squared. X times negative 1 gives me negative 1x or negative x. Now I'm going to take my 2 and multiply it by each of the 3 terms. 2 times x squared is a positive 2x squared. 2 times a positive 3x gives me positive 6x. 2 times negative 1 is minus 2. Now I'm going to combine all my terms that are the same. I don't have anything else that's cubed, so I have x cubed. Do I have anything else that's squared? I do. I have a term right here. So I have a positive 3 and a positive 2. Gives me plus 5x squared. Do I have another x term? I do. These two right here. Negative 1 plus 6 gives me a positive 5x. What do I have left? My constant at the end. There you go. Let's do another one. I know I'm going quickly, but let's just go through these steps together. You can always refer to this when you're doing your homework. Let's do a minus 2 times a to the 4th plus 2a squared plus 5. Okay. My first a multiplying by my first term here, a times a to the 4th is a to the 5th. A times my next term gives me 2a cubed, because there's 2 here and 1 there. A times my last term is plus 5a. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my negative 2, but I'm going to do that to each one. Negative 2 times a to the 4th is negative 2a to the 4th. Negative 2 times a positive 2 gives me negative 4a squared. Negative 2 times a positive 5 gives me negative 10. Now, do I have anything else that's to the 5th power? No. Do I have anything else to the 3rd power? No. Plus 2a the 3rd. Do I have anything else that's to the 4th? No. Actually, oh, look what I ended up with. Random numbers gave me a 5, a 4, a 3, a 2, a 1, and a constant. So we can't combine anything. But we do have to write everything in order. I have to start with my 5th power. Then I have to write my 4th power, which is a negative 2. This is why it's important to keep, how do I know if it's positive or negative when I write my next term? I have to keep the sign that's right in front of it. So this is going to be a to the 5th minus 2a to the 4th. Now where's my 3rd? Here's my to the 3rd power, and that's a positive 2a, so plus 2a to the 3rd. Where's my squared term is here. I have to keep that minus in front of it. Minus 4a squared. Then my a term plus 5 minus, 5a minus 10. All right, random numbers gave me that. We just never know what you're going to come up with. All right, let's try another one. Let's do y minus 3 times 2y squared plus 2y plus 2. All right, first term, y times 2y squared gives me 2y cubed. Y times my next term gives me a positive 2y squared. Y times my last term gives me a positive 2y. Same thing with my negative 3. Negative 3 times 2y squared, negative 6y squared. Negative 3 times a positive 2, negative 6y. Negative 3 times positive 2 gives me a negative 6. Now, do I have terms that are the same that I can combine? I don't have anything that's cubed. I do have a 2y squared minus a 6y squared. 2 minus 6 is negative 4y squared. Another 2y minus 6y gives me negative 4y. And then minus 6, and I've done it. Nothing else to combine. All right, that's enough practice with that one. Let's take a look at the very last page, 45. To multiply a trinomial with another trinomial, we'll use the distributive property also, except this time we have to do this with each term. So we're going to end up, I'm going to try and write small because we're going to end up with a lot of different terms. Here we go. X squared times 2x squared gives me 2x to the 4th. X squared times 6x gives me plus 6x cubed. X squared plus 6 gives me 6x squared. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my 4. 4x times 2x squared gives me 8x cubed. 4x times 6x gives me 24x squared. 4x times 6 gives me plus 24x. Oh, I'm writing small, but I'm still going to run out of room because I have a fat marker. Negative 3 times 2x squared, negative 6x squared. Negative 3 gives me negative 18x. And my last term, negative 3 times a positive 6 minus 18. Oh, now I get to combine everything. Do I have anything else that's to the fourth power? No. So I end up with 2x to the fourth. Do I have anything that's to the third power? Yes. You know what? I'm gonna mark this off as I go. Do I have anything that's a third power? Yes, I have a 6x to the third and an 8x to the third and nothing else. So 6 plus 8 is 14x to the third. I've used that one and that one. Now, do I have anything squared? I have a 6x squared and a 24x squared and a negative 6x squared. So 6 plus 24 is 30. 30 minus 6 is 24. So 24x squared, and I use that one and that one and that one. And now what do I have left? A 24x minus an 18. So that's 6x, that one, and I'm left with minus 18. And there you have it, a trinomial times another trinomial. And that's all she wrote.